Is the 9th lecture of DDCDP. Yesterday we covered Git, and so we didn't have any time to cover CSS Grid. Today we will cover CSS Grid in detail. At least we will start some of the properties of it. CSS Grid is very sort of complex system, much better, it has many features than if you compare it to Flex or Float. So some of the concepts are very necessary. I will open Inkscape. Have you guys heard of it? It's an open source vector graphics tool. Okay, so you can also install it. We will use it as a blackboard for now to learn some of the concepts of CSS Grid. So for example, I will draw a rectangle. I think I need to zoom it in. Okay, I will give it a color of say brown or red. Okay, for example, I have to draw this in CSS Grid. Okay, now you should be just for now some of the terminologies you need to consider. First, these are known as lines. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. Yes. So for example, this is number one line. We can draw lines like or maybe I will add some borders. So this is this one is line 1, this is line 2, and this is line 3. Similarly, and these are column lines. Okay, so if I ask you line 2 of the column, for example, column line 2, so this one will be 2, this one will be 3, this one will be 1. Similarly, this is a row line, so this is line 1, this is line 1, and this is line 2. Is it okay? Yes. So right now, if you have a design like this, it has 2 row lines and 3 column lines. So this is line 1, 2, 3, this is row 1, this is row 2. Is this clear? Yes. Okay. Any 4 lines make a cell. Okay, so for example, this and this red is a cell, this one is a cell. These are known as cells. If I create another one, okay, so this is the third row line. So this is row 1, line 1, line 2, and line 3, and there are 2 rows now. This is one row, this is second row. Is this clear? Yes. Similarly, the columns actually stretch. This is still the same one column, this is another column line, and this is third column line. So lines are the column lines are vertical and the horizontal lines are rows actually. So columns are vertical and rows are horizontal. Is this clear? We will stop here and go to code. and I will create a new file called grid.css, sorry, grid.html. We will create a div with a class of wrapper and it will have, say, 3 items. This is markup clear. Now, for example, we will create some styles. Dot wrapper. We want to center it. So what we will do? Margin is left, auto, margin dash right, auto. I want to have a background color also for this so that we can know where it is. So maybe purple is fine for now, and let me give it some width of, say, 600 pixels for now. Okay, then we have these items. A, B and C. We have two, I know two approaches of teaching you how CSS grids work, but let us start with this one. Okay, so I want, for example, this A box. First let us just open it in the browser so that we should know where we are. This is the div centered in the page, and say it is 600 pixels. This is A, this is B, and this is C. Okay, you can zoom it in further. Now I will go back to the ink space. So for example, I want to create this one. I want to have this box. Columns in grid CSS are actually sort of logical columns. They are not divs. So this is one column, this is another column, whole stretching down to the, and this is one row and this is second row. Right now we have to place items inside the columns. So this is actually a bit confusing. You should consider columns and rows as imaginary placeholders. For example, this is a row and this is a column, for example, this one. So they are logical placeholders inside a grid container. They are not divs, remember. They are placeholders, just like drawers. For example, in a drawer you can keep anything. Similarly, in a column in CSS Grid you can place paragraphs, divs or whatever. So this is sort of imaginary columns now. So for example, I want to place the A div here. So can you, for example, I will ask you, go to this, start the column from the second row line and move it to the third row line. Is this fine? It starts here and goes to here. So 2 to 3. Similarly, if this is column 1 line, this is column 2 line, so the location of the column line will be 2 to 3. Is this fine?
Yes.
So here I will give a CSS to dot A. Sorry, dot A. Dot A is this, and I want it to, the syntax is grid dash column. It will start at, let us go back again. It will start at the second. It will start here, and this is line 2 and here. So 2 to 3. So 2, it will start 2 and end at 3. That's it. This is the syntax you have to give. Grid dash column 2 3, and similarly row, grid dash row 2/3. It is also the same. I will give it a background color of, say, yellow, so that you know where it is. Yellow. Is this fine? So if I refresh the page, dash column, dash row. What is missing? We haven't.
Template.
No, we haven't given the wrapper CSS Grid display. So display grid. So this parent element property gives the grid display properties to everything inside it. Okay. So you can see now A is here at the at that location, for example. If you give it some height, so or the content is more than just A, it will stretch down. Okay. Now dot B. For example, I want it to be at the start of the container. So what it will be? I want it to be here. So line 1 to line 2 and row 1 to row 2. So it will be grid dash column. It is 1 to 2, right? And grid dash row, it is 1 to 2 also, like this. And we will give it a background color of green. This is fine. So where are you expecting it now? Where we want it to be, right? Now we have two empty cells. These are known as cells, this one and this one. These are right now empty. We can add the third one to say the bottom dot C. We will copy this for now. So grid column is 1 to 2 and grid row is 2 to 3, and this will be say pink, light pink. Fine. So this is this one. Now this one is empty cell. We can place anything inside it. So for example, if I just add one more div here, and give it a class of D, and if I give it dot D is the class background dash color, what color should I give it? Aqua. Can anybody tell me why we haven't specified it any column but still it appeared here? Exactly. So by default it will take some place, some empty cell. Okay. So if the number of items in a div are more than they are as per the column cells, then it will occupy the empty one. So there was one place. This is one by default. This is the feature, but we can also specify it here explicitly as well. But for now, just take it as an example. If we give it the terms dot term, what is it? Item. Min dash height, say 100 pixel. So now you can see the okay, we haven't specified it. For example, I want just like the yesterday's assignment. For example, I want this B to stretch to say 5th row. Right now we have just 2 rows. They are known as auto rows. Automatically they are inside the rows. But if I just assume that I want this green one to stretch up to say 5th or 6th row line. Right now we don't have those lines, but we can just let it know. For example, this one, the green one is, it's stretching from 1 to 2, but say 1 to 6. I make it 1 to 6. And I remove the min height right now. Something is wrong. Grid column 1 to 4.
सर ये कॉलम वाइज है सर. आप रो में चेंज कर रहे हो कॉलम वाइज सर, उसको स्टिच करना है सर उसको.
No, this is I want to stretch it row wise. Okay, actually which one is this? C. Because C was positioned there, so that's why we're not able to see it. It now stretches from 1 to 6th row. Okay, if I specify, we can specify heights also of the inside the parent. So for example, grid dash template dash rows. For example, I want the first row to be 100 pixel, the second one to be 200 pixel, the third one to be 100 pixel, the fourth one to be 200 pixel, the fifth one to be 200 pixel, and the last one to be, for example, 300 pixel. Is this fine? The number of values after this rule, grid template rows: first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, and sixth row. Now I have specified div B to be from 1 to 6, right? What do you expect after this? What should be the height of the this div when I refresh the page? Shabas.
300 pixel. Stretch.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I plus it, 500 plus probably 800. So now B is this much long, high, because I have now specified the number of the measurement of rows because of this rule. This one, grid template rows, this. For example, I make it just 3 rows, so there will be 3 values now. The rows are now 3. So here, if I stretch it to 1 to 3 or 4 rather, now what should be the height, Shabas? 400 pixels. This. Is this fine? So again, let me just repeat. Rows and columns actually are imaginary pieces of places, you can say, inside a grid, where you can put your child divs or containers or whatever. So this is a cell now, grid row and grid column, this one, and the size of it is this much. Is this clear? Okay. If I remove one of the divs for now, this one, we have now 3 items. This one. Okay. So just like yesterday's assignment, the div A is 2 to 3 and grid row is 1 2 3 for example, and the color is yellow. So this is right now. How many rows we have, Shabas? We have 3 rows. So if there are 3 rows, how many lines are there, Irfan? If we have 3 rows, how many row lines do we have? 4. Why?
So because the starting line is above the first row.
Exactly. If for example these are 2 rows, okay, so this is row line 1, row line 2 and row line 3. So there is always +1 to the number of rows or +1 to the number of columns, because lines start before a row starts actually. This is 1 row, this is 2nd row, but the lines are actually starting from 1, and for example if we have 1 row, it will have 2 lines starting from 1 to 2. If we have 2 rows, we have 3 lines actually. So right now we have 3 rows, so the number of lines will be 4. So we cannot actually divide it exactly between the 2 rows, or maybe we can. Let me just practice. If I make it 100 100 100, it means every row will be of 100 pixels. So it is from 1 to 3. If I make it 1 to 2, so it's from A to this. And if I make point C stretch to the bottom, what it will be?
From 1 to 4. Sorry, 2 to 4.
Which C is? So this is 2 to 3 and 2 to 4. Is this fine? This is almost yesterday assignment, but now the question is, we can't divide A and C exactly. I mean the column width, because A is
Single row in a single row, and the other is in the 2 rows.
exactly. So if we make the number of rows 4, then we can probably divide it. Now we have 4 rows, imaginary rows, okay. We have now an extra row. If I make which one is yellow? A. So if I now make it 1 to 3, 1 to 3, and other one will be 2 to 3 to 5. Now they will be equally divided. Is this fine?
Yes.
But now we have specified it to be the B to be of 3 rows. Now we need to make it of 5 rows. So where is it? Green one. It's 1 to 4, so we will now make it 1 to 5. Now it is exactly the same like we did it yesterday. Is this fine?
Yes.
This needs a lot of practice and concepts actually. So we will not be learning a lot of concepts today, just so that you are able to practice them. Right now we have actually, let me just repeat, we have a wrapper with 3 items. Simple. The wrapper has this CSS, margin left auto, it centers it, width is 600 pixel and display grid. Why we have specified this? If you don't specify the size of the rows, if for example I just remove it, it still will be working, but it will just be occupying the space of the content.
Yes,
Okay. For example, if I add a large paragraph to A and C, and then it will stretch accordingly, and the B also, it is still working. But if we add this again, it actually specifies the number of rows as well as the size of the rows. So this means we have 4 rows, and every row is of this size. Is this fine? Now if I refresh it again, so 100, 100, 100, we have 4 rows and 5 lines. Similarly, we have 2 rows and 2 rows here and 5 lines total. That's why it is being divided into 2. Is this fine? Any questions?
So as you mentioned multiple times, these are imaginary cells.
Exactly,
So
they are.
They didn't take any place.
Yeah, they are just imaginary sort of cells where we can place items. Okay, so and they are being governed by these rules. For example, this one. If you don't specify anything, it will be. Let us
Empty
make
cell.
exactly. Let me
According to the content.
div class is equal to wrapper 2. Let us go back to this example. So we should spend some time on this same example, okay, this one, so that you learn all the concepts. Let us come back here. I will add 3 more divs. Item A, I'll just copy these 3. Okay, I will copy this CSS also to save some time. This wrapper 2 with the same colors, and I will give it a margin margin top, so that it is 100 pixel. This is fine. Okay, now I want this for example this A1 to stretch up to the second last row, so we can copy this CSS, so dot wrapper dot A, what is this called? Descendant selectors. Now I want to have a different wrapper 2. Okay, I want the row to start at 1 but span 3. Start at 1 and then go 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. Grid dash column 2 wrapper 2 wrapper dot wrapper 2 and span 2 for example. It is fine, but why is it not working? Okay, got it. It is working actually, but maybe overlapping. So if I just remove class from this one and this one for now, so it starts at 1 and span 2. What does it rather span 3? So it starts at 1,
It's
2
column.
and it spans 3 columns actually. It starts at 1 and spans 3 columns.
So 3 rows.
Yeah. If I make it 4, so what will it mean? 4 columns. 4 columns. Rows, sorry. Yes. So it starts at 1 and flows up to 4.
Line 5.
Yeah. Line 5. So 1 to 5. So actually span is for cells, not the lines. It starts at this line and spans up to 4. If I make it 2, for example, so it will start on the second row and span up to 4. So where are you expecting the yellow color? Here. For example, if I ask you to have a design like this, so what in grid CSS you can do? You can just ask this grid to start at the second line and then span 3 columns. If I make it span 2 columns, for example, this is the power of a CSS grid. So it will be in the center. Is this fine? Just like we float something to the right or left, this is one of similarly in grid CSS you can do this.
Sir, we have a lot of empty cells. So we can add the content out of the grid as well.
Exactly, and those are that is known as implicit grid. It will automatically define lines and cells accordingly. If you ask this A to be here, for example, to the right, so imaginary grid cells will be created and it will be placed there. Let us do that, for example. If I want it to, this is now columns, right? 1 line, 2 line, 3 line. But if I want this to stretch to the 4th line, so I will make it 4th, for example. Now 4th is outside the grid, but still it will try to stretch. So now there are 4 columns, it has sort of shrunk. If you have, it has now 1, 2, 3 and 4 columns. Automatic, this is known as implicit grid. There was no 4th column, but it has now created it for us. Got it? We can practice all these things. Okay, we have right now just specified it. Actually, we should give all of them dot wrapper so that okay, can anybody tell me why is this B and C? Let me just give them background colors also. Dot B background dash color light green.
Sir, it's wrapper 2.
Thank you. And this is dot wrapper to B and C. Remember one thing, there is nothing magical. Okay, if something is not happening or something is not working, just realize that you have some problem or in the code. Okay, nothing drastic has happened. I was missing CSS classes, that's why that was not working. Okay, so this is B, this is C. How is it covering it? And why are those two there? Because they are empty grid cells,
Yes, sir, exactly.
and
They're
the,
occupied.
they have been occupied. So if we add extra divs right now, how many columns and rows we have? 1 2 3 columns here. So let me just add a few more. This is D, this is E, this is F, D, E and F. Okay, we will add some background colors to D, E, F also. There is no light brown color. Okay, so can anybody tell me how many more items can be placed inside this? Good, because we have 3 extra empty cells, and we have the A has occupied this one exactly, so it won't place it here. But if I paste 3 more items, G,
If we place one more cell after that, so it will, according to that, it will also create a cell for that rows and columns.
we already have empty cells. If they are fulfilled,
After that.
yeah, exactly. So 3 more columns. Remember one thing I just forgot. I will demo it. Okay, G, H and I. F, G, I. Is this fine? Okay, so we will add 3 more. G, H and I. F, G, H, this one is I. Is this fine?
Yes.
So now those have occupied these 2. Is this okay?
Yes.
For example, I want the C to stretch to this size. What I will do, Shabas?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. One of the ways is from it will start from 2 line and move to the 4th line.
Red column 2/span 3.
Span 2. So it counts. Let us do it both ways. So which one is the C is maroon? So C this. If I ask it to grid dash column, it will start at line 2 and move to line 4. So it will start at 2 and move to 4. The second way is
Span 3.
sorry, let us do it this way. It will start at 2 and move to 3. If it started at 2 and moves to 4, it means it has covered.
Span 3.
So it can be like this. It starts at 2 and span 2. Span 2. Don't be confused with span, the number after the span and before it. Before span it is line, but after the span it is cell.
Complete cell.
Exactly. So for example, this is one cell, this is two cell 2. If I started here So this is line 1, for example line 2. So 3 and 4. So one way is I will specify 2/4. But if I have to specify it in terms of spans, so it will be 2 span 2. Got it? Can anybody tell me why is this I here now?
Because there is no space.
How many rows right now are there? Can anybody tell me?
Six.
Five rows.
Six.
We have specified only 4 rows, if you remember.
But we have 5 rows.
5. So why is this the behavior actually?
It will create an extra cell for that.
Exactly. If the number of cells are more than are less than the items, so right now, so it will create an automatic, you can call it an automatic row or column. So we have now, if I want the 5th row to be also of 100 pixels, right now it is automatic. So what are you expecting? This will increase. This is also 100. So once it has created a row, so a row has the same number of columns as we have here. This is the rule, okay? A row should have the same columns as, for example, the first row and the last row. They should have the same columns. This is not possible if the top row has, say, 4 columns and the bottom one has 5 columns. This is not possible, just like in tables normally. So you should have the same number of columns in a row, either it is first, second, third, or whatever. So now we have more empty cells, and if we add 2 more items, they will occupy those 2 spots. Okay, I want this E, for example, to stretch from here to here. What should I do?
3 to 5.
There it can be done in 2 ways. 3, if this is line 3, so 4 and 5. So 3 to 5, or we can 3 span 2 showers.
3 span 2, yes.
Well done. So which one is this? E. If I want E to stretch from, which line is this? 3. So one of the ways is grid dash row 3 to 5, right? And another way is 3 and then span 2. Both are the same actually. Okay, so we will for now make it 3 to 5. Okay, there is one thing. If I do it now, okay, it has worked, but there are times when it won't work, and we haven't specified exact locations for these cells for some of the divs actually. So if you can see, they are switching automatically from one place to another. But if we specify, for example, we have specified it for A, so it is not moving at all, but the other ones are, because we haven't specified for them the place. Okay, if I want F to move to this, what it will be? 1, 2, in columns we will make a change. So 2 span 2, good. So F is grid dash column 2 span 2, and it has moved to the, and let us change the color so maybe we can notice it. Light sea green. Is this fine? Yes. So I will leave it for you here. You can practice it yourself also, and you can create very complex sort of grid which is not possible with Flex easily. Okay, it is just your own creativity now. Just the recap is, there are imaginary columns and rows which you can the items can occupy actually. Now this is actually very hard doing. I mean, you cannot always specify such things, so we can create another wrapper and we will call it wrapper 3. This is wrapper 3, and let us copy some CSS from here so that it's easier for us. Wrapper 3. So this is wrapper 3. Now, rather than going from the cells, we initially started from the cells. Now we will go from the wrapper actually. I will ask the wrapper to have either columns of this number and rows of this number. Okay. So for example, I ask it to have 3 rows, or maybe 5 rows is fine, but I'm also asking it to have grid dash template dash columns of say 5 columns. So 5 columns will be of 100 pixel, 100 pixel, 100 pixel, 100 pixel, 100 pixel. So 1 2 3 4 5 pixel, so columns and 5 rows, right? Okay, for now I will remove the width, or maybe it's fine. So, and let us give colors to these background colors to all the divs so that we can see where they are.
Can you give it a gap?
Yes. Gap would confuse you because the line if there is a gap between two lines, it shows as if there are 2 lines, but they are actually 1 line. So I will let you know what I mean. So for now, just the colors, okay? B two, 3, remove it for now, and also this one.
In F we also.
Okay, what do you deduce from it? We have placed all the divs inside a wrapper of 3, this one, A B C D E F G. We have given it 1 2 3 4 5 columns and 1 2 3 4 5 rows. Okay, so there are how many items? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 items we have, and we have 5 in one row. Then the second row becomes 5 5 10. So it has, I mean, it will occupy the next one. This is in natural order. Okay, A B C D E F G H I. These are the, why is it not taking this one? Anybody?
Space is coming.
Exactly.
No, the width.
We have specified the rows.
We specify the rows. That's why it's taking only.
We have specified
The columns.
columns. There
Columns.
is 5 columns will be there.
That's why it's taking only 5 columns.
And the main wrapper have 600 pixels width.
Exactly, Shabas, well done. So this is good for practicing the centering also, justify items sort of things. So for now we can
I think we have also another way of doing the grid template columns repeat.
yes, we will come there. So justify dash content. There are 3 actually which are very confusing, but with practice you can know them. justify dash items, justify dash this one, content items, and align dash items. One is align dash items. So let us start with justify dash items. Rather, let us start with content first. So if I make it center, this extra space is, as a whole, the grid has been centered. Okay. If I want to make it vertically centered, so I will make it align dash items center. Align items center. I am momentarily removing this one, justify dash content. Okay. What has happened to this one? Can anybody tell me? Okay, this is imaginary cell here. For example, this is a cell, and this is a cell, this is a cell. Okay. So do you know what is display inline, display block? So it actually does centering as per inline concepts. Okay, inline concepts. So it will center it according to its column cell, but only up to its actual content. That's it. Got it? So for justify dash items,
So you didn't specify the height and the width of the container of the item. That's why it's not taking.
no, it is doing it the way it should. For example, if there is more text in it, paragraph has some text, so this box will be bigger, but only up to the actual content, because of inline nature of this centering. Okay. If I make it, for example, left, so it has centered, placed it to the left of the if I make it to, I think it is end of the, so you can even judge the boundaries or the lines of your cells by this property. Okay, it will center it as per the principles of inline elements, and according and you can know where the boundaries of your cells are with this. Okay, now let us try align dash items. Have we given any height to the this is for y axis or cross axis vertically. So if your cell is like this, so it has centered it inside the cell.
Along y-axis.
Got it?
Yes.
If this is, for example, your cell starts here and ends here, so it is now in the center. If you make it end, so it will be on the end of the cell, this one. So now you can even know about the bottom lines of the rows from this, because with this property. And if you have to center everything inside the box, so what's the property? Justify dash content as a whole. So this is center. and vertically doing it, I'm not justify line dash items. It's centered and this so okay. Why is it not working? Shabas, this is your quiz time.
In this wrapper that it have that margin, left auto, margin, right auto, sir.
No, that is on the parent.
Yes.
It has no impact on it because we have 5 rows. It is doing it fine, but those rows are empty and they are not visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Got it? So for example, if I make the number of rows 2, just like now, so now it will center it properly
Yes, sir. Got it.
because there were extra cells. They were being centered but not visible actually. Now it is fine. If I, for example, remove this, and I give some height to the container, for example, height ht say 500 pixels. Justify dash items. And if I make it auto, what does auto mean? Because the rows heights are explicit, we will make it auto according to the container. Now it's stretching it and it's in the center actually. This is center. And if I make it end, what do you expect? You just need to practice these things, okay? Content center. So it is doing it like it should.
On align content.
Align content will make it centered. Justify dash content center. It will be in the center now. How to reduce this gap, Shabas? This is your quiz. It is doing it absolutely like we have asked it to do, but we need to reduce this space. So how can this be possible? Actually, we have made the rows auto. So there are 2 rows.
Yes, sir.
It will divide the wrappers into 2 rows of equal. So if the height of the wrapper is 600, every row will be 300, right? So it is centering it properly. But now, for example, if I give the rows some height, this template dash rows, and I will give it say 150 pixels, right? Now total row height is 300 and the height of the wrapper is 500, so we have 200 extra space
Yes.
available, so it will center it as per that.
Then auto should be removed.
Grid template row auto.
Auto it should be removed.
Have we not removed? Oh yes, good. So it has reduced now. One of the properties is stretch, so it will stretch itself.
So can you please use the align content center instead of the align content center?
Exactly. It's fine now.
The first one.
So align item center, align content center, and justify content center. This one is for horizontal one, and this one is
I think so. Remove this. So we can see. Now it's
justify content center, align content center. And if we remove this, align item center, okay.
the item actually centered the item.
Actually, exactly, and content as a whole does it. Got it? You can practice it and come up with some beautiful designs tomorrow before the class. Okay? Center. This is what we were searching for. Thank you, Wasim. Okay. One thing, we can specify the names also for columns, so as you can remember. So for example, here we can specify grid dash template dash areas. Okay, so we have 2 rows, so and 5 columns, right? 1 2 3 4 5. So for example, area 1, area 1, area 1, or area 2, 3. Should they be inside the brackets, or area 4, area 5, like this? And the second row will be, for example, area 6, area 7, area 8, area 9, area 10. Like this. Is this clear? So we have given, because we have took 5 columns and 2 rows. Okay, so this is column 1 2 3 4 5, and this is second row 1 2 3 4 5. So for example, I want which one, this gray one, to be on area 7. It's the name of the cell now. Okay, so I want the gray one to be at area 7, or this one, green one. So grid dash area 7. Hopefully it will work. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Make it black. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Oh, sorry. Let us make it black. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, this is area 7. So you have named it, we have named it, and we have specified, actually you are naming the cells. So we have given it now the CSS of grid area. Once you name something, the column, these are the names of the cells actually. So the 7th one is that black one where we have used it here. If I wanted to for example, we can have 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive cell names also. So for example, I want these 3, area 8, 9 and 10 as the same. For example, area 8 and area 8. And if I give it this one, area 8, what do you expect? Shabas, tell me.
Occupy the 3 cells.
Shabas, it will occupy the 3 cells which we have named as area 8. So it is occupying the 3 cells, right? Usually you will see people writing something like, say, header, 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 header and header, or maybe let us make these two, this last one as aside. For example, if you have a menu and on the right you have social media icons, for example, so in aside we will place the social media icons, and in the 4 headers we will place the header of the website, right? So for example, I will make this yellow one, grid dash area header. So how many it will occupy? 4. And I want this one to be, for example, social media icons, so I will give it a grid dash area of aside, so it will be in the top right corner. Is this fine? So this is header, the A, and this is social icons. Let us change even those here. This one is, which one we changed? A dot A. Yes. So we will call it header so that you can just see it in the browser also. And this one is social icons. Social. Is this fine?
Yes.
So that's all for today. Okay, just have some practice. What we have done today, we have done CSS Grid, and we started from the grid dash column syntax, and then we moved towards the span syntax, and then we also covered grid template areas as well as the number of columns and rows.
Yes.
Thank you very much.